as an Assyriologist, as somebody that really enjoys working with these ancient Near Eastern texts, when you can let go of, when you can pull away this interpretive lens of everything in the Old Testament has to be like foreshadowing of things in the New Testament, you can remove that and actually see the text for what it is. You can make really interesting observations that scholars do all the time. For example, in Genesis 3, right, the serpent, or in Genesis 2, God is lying, right, for their own good. That I think the narrative is trying to get at. But for their own good, Yahweh is lying to Adam and Eve and saying, or to Adam at the time, you know, when if you eat of this in the day that you eat the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you're going to die. But it's a lie, right? They didn't. And so, but this fits perfectly with a theme. And I think actually, I think Kip was on, Dr. Davison and I were on, and we talked about this, but you can see this theme in different texts, in different literary texts from Mesopotamia. So in the Adapa myth, in Gilgamesh Tablet 11, you have this theme of the chance at immortality that often is combined either with food or a plant. And they get so close, the human gets so close to gaining eternal life by consuming this plant or this food, and they miss it. And in each case that I'm thinking of here, there is a snake involved in the text, right? There's that motif of this serpent. And like that in and of itself is super interesting, because it's sort of a way that this text is sort of answering, I think, sometimes quite subtly, notions in Mesopotamian texts or in Babylonian concepts. And sometimes it's quite overt. But if you can, that's completely different. I mean, not even close to this idea that, you know, we should be able to look back in Genesis 3 and see the book of Revelation. Like, miss me with that shit. You know, it's just so much nonsense.
When I ask Christians, you know, where does it say that the serpent in the garden was Satan? And they say, well, it says that in Revelations. I'm like, you realize Revelations was not written by the same people that wrote Genesis. And when it says that Satan is that old serpent, that doesn't mean that old serpent, because here he's standing, which he's not supposed to be able to stand, but it says that he's standing, and that he has 7 heads, which I think is a detail that they ought to have brought up in Genesis, if in fact they were talking about the same thing.